Good afternoon. Hi, Pat Braxton. Thanks for joining in. It's Friday, our market day at Beige Collections. And like I said, today we are not selling. Today we are learning. Today we are doing a class session. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If there is anything you want from whatever we shared previously, feel free to ask or inbox. So today I thought about sharing about a topic here. Like this week, today is Friday. I like writing, that's number one. And I have several books, so just give me a second. So you find I always encourage people to learn to draft down ideas, learn to write down what is in your mind. You find our mind is always filled with ideas. We think through them, we get stressed about them, because you find sometimes we think about so many things that we don't know how to handle at the end of the day. And the best way to do it is this is my diary. You see this? I have light, I know it's bright. So this is one of my diary. It's busy. So roughly, you see, my handwriting is not that perfect, but so long as I understand what I write, I realize my handwriting changed over time. Right now it looks so sketchy, but you find you draft about what you want to do, or if you're planning about the future weeks or months, you go and just write down what you want to do during that day. You find you might think about something today, and by the time it's 2 or 3 weeks ahead or next month, if you open the page like now, let's say today is 27th and I want something to be done next month, so I'll just open that page and write what I would like to do. Like let's say October 21st, I would like to have or visit a place, or maybe someone just invited us somewhere to go for either a meeting or a party. You write ahead. Don't just store it in your head. That's not a proper way of planning. It's, to me, I feel like you'll forget, or if you have a reminder on your phone, you can go put it on your phone reminder. But what I've realized is, based on experience, I used to store everything. Okay, I shifted from writing in the book, then I went wholly on my phone, on the notebook, on the calendar, on the reminders. And now with this new storage thing, like they want you to subscribe for storage, you find you're paying for the storage of $5.99, then it get filled up real quick. It went to $9.99, then I went to $19.99, then it keeps filling, so they want you to keep buying the next one. And by the time you want to delete items, there is a time that you attempt even 5 times, the same picture keeps popping up. So me, I gave up. Then during that process, my notes, my reminders, all, I think they're just a way they hang the items. Me, I'm not an IT person or iPhone person, staff or guru, so it's a challenge trying to navigate left and right. It makes you waste time. So I went back to my old method of doing things and writing, whereby I don't have to stress myself. If you're in this, this is for the person who is in the same position as I am. Like, if you find your phone is hanging, just go back to the old ways. Let's do it. Because if it's all in your head, you get tired thinking about, oh, what did I forget doing? Oh, I thought I was supposed to do it this week, but I didn't do it. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Then that's how you start messing up your life. So here we are. Today, I remember I said it's market day, but I thought about sharing a few tips. Someone had asked me, like, I think I talked about it also in the prior video, but I want to break it down further. I have a few notes here, just thought about it and draft it now, just to help me go through it. I'm learning to be a teacher. So our class today is items and pricing. If you are in business or planning to get into business, there is one critical thing that is a challenge to so many. You find you have a product or a service, but pricing varies, or pricing is a challenge. I'll use a good example of one question somebody asked me this week, and I think that was on a Wednesday. You find this person, I know probably the person will listen, and maybe this will help you. Again, I know we talked, but let me just share to help others. So this person has been doing business from the house. The person has been selling food and people coming over to eat, buy, selling food items in the house. So you find the person is doing well right now and wants to branch out to start selling in a restaurant kind of a setting. Remember, this home price and home food, what I realized also is the person never separated business food with home food. He just kept selling and feels like now that whenever he cooks, it all gets sold. So he thinks that he's in a level whereby now he can venture into restaurant. And there are some few questions that I'd ask him, like, hey, how about your books? What is the profit margin you're making? Let's say, do you know how much you're buying, and have you factored in your hours, the electricity, the pay, per weekly pay? How much do you pay yourself before you move into a restaurant? So this person didn't have a proper record of what he is doing. So the person wants to hire an accountant to help him figure out this. Do you understand up to that point? This person here wants to go now open a restaurant, and he wants to hire an accountant to help him figure out his profit margin. And the person wants to also look for loan to help him open or start this business. Mistake number one: you do not know how much you're even making as a profit. As at now, in the house, you do not know how to calculate your profit out of all this you're doing and selling food and people coming and eating and rejoicing. You want to hire an accountant. You don't know how much accountants are being paid. You are starting, you want to move to a next level, zero, with no idea of what you're doing. That is a mistake, a major mistake. If you're in that position, please, don't rush into moving. Take some time to learn. Number one, start by learning to differentiate your house food shopping and your business shopping, whereby if you are going to shop for food for sale, separate those two bills. Learn to separate the two bills. Don't mix your your cleaning detergents. Maybe you go shopping today and maybe the shopping comes maybe $200-300. Then in there you have your food you're going to cook for the business, and you have your house supplies. Don't do that. If you're venturing or starting in your house, learn to separate that money. Business, if you're going to shop for house item, split the bill. That's the simplest way to start if you're struggling and if you don't know how to budget or do your calculations. Separate the two, so that if, let's say, you're cooking chicken and rice, you know you'll need rice, you know you'll need chicken. Those are major components. Then you'll know if you're going to bake, you know what you'll need. If you're going to make soup, you know what you'll need there. For the rice, whether you're cooking with salt and oil, those also goes on one side. So if you're going to buy food for that business, for chicken and rice, separate those bills. Don't be using your house salt. Get me clear. Don't be using your house salt. Don't be using your house oil. Separate these two. Even if it's a corner or something, just know that I'm starting afresh and this is my business. I have to separate my house salt and business salt, house oil and business oil, so that you start working towards that journey whereby you are going to be knowing, like, if I buy oil, if I buy salt, if I buy even Royco to add to spice it up and the spices, how much quantity can I make and how much can I sell it for? And by that, after differentiating the total cost, like how much salt, how much for this business, you separate it from the house, then you'll be able to know that maybe if you buy salt, it lasts a week or a month depending on the quantity. Then for the oil, the same. Then let's say you're now serving the foods in the bowls. You'll need those aluminum foils. So if you're serving them in bowls, if you're going to deliver and come back with your bowls, you'll have to know, like, are you buying aluminum foils? And you need to factor in the cost for buying aluminum foil to put the rice and the chicken, or are you going to serve in your bowl? Remember, the prices there are going to be a little bit different, because for the aluminum foil, it will be like a disposable stuff unless you're going to clean it again and reuse it. But if you're going to give it to go, someone ordered a food and the person will carry the foil, make sure you factor in that cost also. It's not free. It's not free. That is a business operating cost. So if it is even $4, $5, factor it in there. The quantity of the food, the rice, factor it in there. So let's say you buy a bag of rice, 1 kg. Are you cooking it at one time, serving it all at once? You factor in your time for cooking. You have to pay yourself. I hope you're writing it down. I'm trying to mix everything together, or depending on how you will interpret it. You have to, going back to the rice, are you cooking the 1 kilogram all at once and serving it at once, and the chicken maybe, let's say, 2 pounds at once and serving it at one time? Or are you going to give people per plate and sell it per container or per plate? So you have to calculate all that cost. Let's say every plate you sell at $10 or $15. Let's say $10 per plate, and you're able to do like 10 plates. That's $100 for chicken and rice. So suppose you pack them at $10, you sell it at $100. How much did you buy the rice? How much did you buy the chicken? Let's say the rice, you bought it at let me try to write. So let's say chicken and rice, $10 each, and you have 10 packed plates, 10 packed. So you need to find out 1 kilogram of rice, how much did you buy it for? Let's say 1 kg, you bought it at, rice is normally cheap, let's say even $10. then 2 pounds of chicken, let's say even $15. So over there you have the main ingredients for $25. Then next you'll have your salt, oil, spices. I know the spices you don't use. Example, let's say I have, this is ginger, this is I see this is nyama choma spice. So let's say you're only using 2 spices. So these 2 spices, you're not going to use all of it at once. So maybe one spice is about, let's say $10. Remember, this 10, this is 20. You won't use all of it at once, but on the side you have like the main 2 spices you're using that had costed $20. So maybe this $20 you'll use the spice maybe 10 times. So you will divide 20 by 10. So that means per every 10 packed food, your spices are going to cost about $2. Because remember, if you bought these 2 for $20, then you're going to use them 5 times. So you'll divide that 20 by, no, you're going to use them 10 times. So you'll divide that and it will cost like per every cooking $2 each. So let's say spices there. Remember the rice was $10 for 1 kg and 2 pounds of chicken was $15. Now we are adding $2 for the spices. Let's say salt you can use forever, so that's going to be some cents. Let's say salt is 50 cents. Oil you can use, you don't need to use a lot of oil. So let's say this oil you had bought it for maybe it's easy figure to divide, let's say $6, and this oil you can use it even 10 or 12 times. Suppose let's use this oil for 12 times because we just use it a little bit for the rice. So it will be 6 divided by 12. How much is that? Almost another 50 cents. So for this rice that you're selling $10 per serving, per plate, and you packed 10 of them, the items you bought were, let's add $10 chicken, $10 rice, $15 chicken, $2 spices, 50 cents salt, 50 cents oil. That's coming to about 5, 6, 7, 8, roughly $28. We're at $28. Next, remember, if you're using electricity, you'll factor in electricity. Remember, we are still cooking from the house. Water and any other stuff, miscellaneous. So to help you know roughly how much electricity you can allocate towards your food if you're cooking with it all the time, they normally do like a percentage. Let's say in a month, maybe your bill is 120 for electricity. You can try to divide and find out how much you use per day. So 120 divided by, let's say, 30 days. So that is how much? 120 divided by 30 days. Hey, to the people listening, let's do the math. So that's roughly for let me see, $4 per day, right? So $4 per day. Remember, you're in the house, so a fraction of that $4. Normally, sometimes people use 10% of. For the tax purposes, you're only allowed to claim roughly about 10% of your total house bill. So 10% of this $4 per day is coming to 0.4 cents. I hope I'm doing the math right, but I'm just giving you the concept. So you'll factor in electricity roughly the percentage. If you're using it too much, maybe let me just give it to you at $4. So we have $28 plus $4, that is $32. And let's say maybe water, $2. You do the calculation for the water bill the same way like I did the electricity. So that is a total of 34. Whatever we are doing here is just the operating cost, like to help you figure out how to do your pricing and help you also realize if you're making a profit or not. So next, remember you need to consider how long did it take to cook. Did it take 30 minutes? Did it take 1 hour? Or did you take 2 hours? Suppose this chicken and rice, you take 1 hour to prepare. What's your worth for 1 hour? Over here, most people are being paid per hour. So let's say you want to pay yourself per hour, and this takes you an hour to prepare. Are you going to pay yourself the average labor cost? Over here, I think it's 7.25, or was it moved to $10? So let's say maybe per hour you want to do the average, the basic minimum, maybe $10 or $12 an hour. Is that your worth? Or do you want to pay yourself $20 an hour? Or you want to pay yourself $35 an hour, or $50 or $100 an hour? Let me use 20 plus 20. So that gets you to $54. So suppose, let's go do the recap. We have the chicken at $10. We have the rice at $10. We have the chicken at $15. We have the salt at $2. No, spices. I'm sorry, it's sketchy. Let's see. This is my schedule. So we have the spices, we have the oil, we have the water, we have the electricity. Let's say all these little costs that I was calculating comes to $54. Then on your end, you have 10 packed food in a container selling at $10 each. That will be $100. So let's subtract these other costs that I was listing here. We have it at $54. So if you take out your spices, your ingredients, the main meal that you're preparing, we have about roughly a profit of $46 out of this 10 packed food. So this is a rough idea on how you'll be calculating your profit if you're cooking from home. So you need to figure out, like, if each day I'm able to prepare, I want to be doing rice and chicken at this cost constantly, you will be making a profit of $46 per day after paying yourself $20, after paying for the rice and chicken separately and the spices. Remember, I told you need to put them separately so that you know how to use them and help you realize whether you are making a profit or not. So this deal right here, if you're working from home and cooking chicken and rice at the way I've explained it here, you'll be making at least $46. Now, suppose it's 5 days a week. Your profit for 5 days a week will be 46 times 5. Let me get the calculator. 46 by 5. So in a week, your profit for cooking chicken and rice, buying all the ingredients, paying yourself for that 1 hour $20. So let's say maybe this is your part-time. Remember, you also have to pay yourself, and making sure you paid for partly your water, electricity, other miscellaneous, you factor in your salt, spices, you'll be making $230 profit per week. and on your end, you by paying yourself $20 an hour, you'll have $100 for your part-time. So remember, all this will be mixed in your total cost of selling this food of 10 by 10, which is 100. So that is roughly how you can calculate your profit margin. So don't just let that money get into your bank account without knowing, like, how much did you make, or what are you exactly doing. Are you just excited cooking? Do you know how to differentiate whether you are wasting your time or making something that will help you in 2-3 months or years to come? Because don't just be doing this without factoring that you also need to pay for your services, and you also need to pay yourself. So you'll double it. If you want to do it for 2 hours, roughly you'll now know, like, if I do it for 2 hours, I have high chances of making about $460 profit a week, and paying myself additional $200 if my charges are $20. Remember, this is in small quantity, so you can convert it to start selling in large quantity by selling a tray, so you'll figure out how to do your pricing. Any questions up to that point? So remember, today I just said we are not selling, we are learning. Unless you want to buy anything, let me know. But I thought of just teaching somebody, because I was asked a question here and I realized we have a problem. So many people don't know how to do the pricing. So many people have no idea on how to calculate the profit margin. And then you find, you just say, hey, the business is hard. The business will be hard when you don't know how to factor in the basic operating costs, and make sure that you factor in everything, and don't just jump into it blindly, moving to the next stage without knowing, like, my base is set up. So remember, we are working from home on this on this part, and now this person wanted to go start open a restaurant out there, but he had no idea on how much he's making. He had no idea of the profit margin. So how was this person going to pay for the rent out there, and start paying for the electricity, and then other operating charges, or including even taxes? So don't jump, I'm not moving to the next stage till you get to know this first. So don't jump from the house to go open a restaurant without even knowing if this restaurant will be making profit, if the way you are portioning food or selling that food is going to be able to pay for all the bills plus you. Remember, now you'll be needing money to pay this restaurant and your home if you're the one paying your rent, unless someone else is paying your rent. Okay, Pat, enjoy your lunch. So up to that, whoever had asked me this question, please don't rush into getting loan. Don't rush into getting into a restaurant setting because your food is now selling a lot in the house. Then you want to move to a restaurant with borrowing, and you have no idea on how much profit margin you're making when people are buying all your food and finishing everything. Don't do that. I don't want to talk too much today, unless you have any questions. I see I've been live for about 29 minutes. So the next part that you'll need to take care of is, even now, when you're doing business from home, learn to separate your personal account and business account. Even if you haven't registered the business, go to the bank and open a separate account specifically to keep, or for people to pay this money in. And when you're going shopping, use that business card. If you're going shopping for the business that you're doing from the house, use that business card to buy that stock so that you can keep your receipts separately, and then it will be easier for you to differentiate your expenses. And that's the best easy way, so that you don't have to say like, I thought this sugar was supposed to be for this and this, or I thought this salt was for the house. So when you at the checkout place, separate the two, and make sure for that business you're doing at home, you use that business card or business money or M-Pesa, whoever will listen. Now, this also applies to when you're working out or when you're not working from home. Use the same concept. Use the same concept. Do your calculations. And just note that learn to separate your personal and business issues, so that by the time you are buying or you are trying to do your calculations, it's easier to log into your bank account or check your account statement and see like, where did this money go? What did I use it for? It's easier to account instead of mixing the two. Don't use that business money for leisure unless it's necessary for business. But sio ile ya kuswipe. No. Just learn. It takes time to learn, but it's doable. Another thing, if you have more than one business, try the best you can to have separate business for all the separate account for all different businesses you're doing. Don't mix all of them together. Learn to separate the businesses you're doing. Have separate business accounts, so that when business A, when someone is paying for spices, let that money go to the spices account. If someone is paying for the books and this is a separate business B, let that business money for the book go to that business account. Don't mix everything together kama githeri. That one you're setting up yourself for failures, and then it will be too much headache trying to figure out like, this is doing this. And by the way, these businesses, sometimes you find one is supporting the other and one is constantly taking away from another. So by separating them, you'll be able to figure out or to know that which business here is constantly sucking out from the other businesses. So don't mix the business accounts. Don't mix even the M-Pesa accounts. Learn to separate them, and that will be the easiest accounting way of documenting your income and expenditure, and you won't have hard time thinking like, where did this money go, or what did I use this money for, or did it even make profit at the end of the day? Anyway, I think that's enough lesson for today. Unless you have any questions, let me know. Let me know if you have any questions. Any questions? Mr. Events KE, hi. I got this messed up. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm here for a few more minutes. And remember, it's our Soko Day, so in case you want anything, scroll our page. We are working on our website. We'll be updating our website every day. It is some work, but we'll definitely get there. Hey, that reminds me, whatever I've taught here is some of them, I wasn't intending to do this, but I just remembered. You see this book, Getting My Richer Self Position? I think I need to rename this thing. It's called 7 Money Hiker Ways to Discover Your Inner Potential. But basically, it speaks more about business, those who are in business and business handling, how to know how to grow your business and all that stuff. We have those tips in here. I just remembered. So you're welcome to check the book. But I just taught you the very basic on how to calculate for your items. So whatever I've shared can apply in anything. The concept apply across the board. The same concept that I just shared for the chicken and rice is the same concept that I'm applying when I'm selling you this. The same concept. If you're just joining in, welcome, Ken. The same concept that I've applied in here is the same concept that I'm using for selling this, and I'm using for selling this, and even this stuff whenever I bring them. Look, so you find it doesn't matter what you do, but so long as you master one concept of selling and repricing your items, then you apply it across everything you do. Factor in the items you use, factor in your time, factor in location, factor in your operating expenses, then make sure you calculate, have a rough idea of the basic expense level, then spread it across what you do. And make sure when you're moving from doing business from the house to a building, make sure you already know expected costs of what you'll be incurring, so that you're not caught off guard and you just start saying, hey, I don't even have rent for this month. Oh, how will I even pay rent for next month? There are no sales. No. And remember, when you're getting from the house, when the food was really selling in the house, then you go to a restaurant setup example, it might not pick up the same way, because some people just love a homely setup. They don't like going to the restaurant. Or some people like restaurant, they don't like going to the home. So it might be a 50-50 win. So be careful. Something is smelling. I need to find out what that is. Hey people, I'll be ending the video. I need to find out, something is smelling here. Smell more like a fire. Let me smell it. Let me look for it. I hope you all enjoy this teaching. Let's see what next time hold for us. If you're just joining, Mogambi Elvis, welcome in. Let's see what we have next time, and I'll end the video. You can start replaying it so that you can learn what I shared. Thanks, and have a lovely day.